I think number one, there's a bit of a myth around authenticity, right? You hear people saying, find your authentic self. You have to be your authentic self. And it sort of gives this impression that there is a version of authenticity. You've got one way of being that is authentic. And whilst I think, generally our values, which help determine our authenticity, kind of they're uniform across our interactions with the rest of humanity. But I think it's a really false idea to think that there is one authentic version of you. All you need to do to just check and measure that is think about how are you when you go out with your mates and you go to a bar, compared to how you speak to your grandmother, or compared to how you might read your kids a bedtime story, compared to how you might speak to a boss or a potential strategic partner. You're not inauthentic in any of those scenarios, but you will be different. You'll be slightly different. There'll be a bedrock of values that stay the same. You're an honest, kind, truthful person, so you're probably going to be like that across everything. But the way that you communicate, the language that you use, your body posture, it's going to change because it needs to, because it needs to land with that other person. So I think for many people, they get a bit squeamish around authenticity because they kind of think, well, I have to be this one thing, but we're not. We're never that one thing. And in terms of how do we access that? How do we find that? I think it's it's a little bit of a trial and error. It's like checking in. Does that feel good? Does that feel like the right space for me to be in? And then allowing our body and our voice to follow that. So, for instance, I genuinely feel joy when I see my clients do amazing things. When I get an email in the morning and one of my clients has said to me, "You'll never guess what I've just done." And I'm like, oh, yes, I love these emails. I'm allowing my excitement for what I do to be shown through the way that I talk about what I do. I genuinely love seeing those ripples go out into the world from the work that I do. The difference is now, I always got excited about that. Now I'm not scared of showing that, because often we can be really frightened of showing that passion because in some way we might think that shows us as being big-headed, that somehow me celebrating a client's success is me saying, oh, look how amazing I am. And it isn't. It really isn't about that. It's like, look what she did. How amazing that I get to help her do that. That's incredible. So I think if we're connecting to the genuine joy of it, and we're connecting to how that leaks out into our clients or our end users' work and how they're interacting with the world, I think then we can be really authentic and very joyful about what we're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, so an interesting thing there as well, you're saying about having those different, almost not personas, but you are different with different groups of people, and what is authenticity. From that perspective, when somebody is on the beginnings of their journey to present better, is it a good thing to emulate, not copy, but take some things that you like from other people in the way they present and to emulate it? So again, people might think that as being inauthentic, but is it a case of learning and developing your style? Is that something that you would encourage or not encourage?
Definitely. So there's a researcher called Jimena Ibarra. Jimena Ibarra, I'll say that better this time. And she's done some amazing research on authentic self. And one of the things that she looks at is that in young professionals or people who are just at the start of a career, so they don't necessarily have to be young, it could be a new career, they have the ones that try on different versions of themselves, who look at leaders around them or look at people around them and go, oh, I really like the way she does that. I'm going to try that. And they try it on for a bit. And then they figure out, yes, that authentically fits with who I am as an individual, or no, that doesn't. That's just not me. Let's put it to one side. Those people do better in their careers and are measurably happier as human beings than those that don't, who go, well, I'm just me, and everyone has to just accept the way that I am, and this is just how I interact. So if we can be flexible and try things on, and then be honest and go, yeah, that works, or no, that doesn't work, that's not me, then we have a much greater chance of developing our skills and feeling authentic at the same time, which is perfect. So yes, I would definitely look around and look at other people and go, I like that. Let's try it. Let's see what happens.